Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here. I'm excited to be at the Experience 2025 conference with so many of you who share a passion for redefining efficiency and collaboration in our field. Before I jump into the specifics of Spec, I want to share a little bit about my background. Like many of you, my journey here wasn't a straight line. I've been in the contract furniture industry for 17 years. I started out as a receptionist. From there, I worked my way through different roles, learning the business, understanding the details that go into every project, and eventually becoming the lead sales coordinator, creating a team to support our account managers. What's interesting is, along the way, I became a self taught spec user, which was Project Spec back then. In the beginning, our dealership training was directed primarily towards the design and sales team. I had access to the program, but I only used it to import SIFs into our AS400 processing system. I'm not a CET user. I would ask questions here and there. Our design team was very insightful, and eventually I taught myself how to use the program step by step, sometimes the hard way, by trial, error, and lots of self problem solving. The reason I share that is because I know many of you are new to spec, and that's okay. You don't need to be an expert on day one. What I hope to do in this session is show you that spec can be approachable, practical, and even enjoyable once you understand how to apply it to real world projects. Over the years, I've discovered tips, tricks, and workflows that save time, reduce errors, and make collaboration with sales team and design so much smoother. My goal today is to pass along those to you so you don't have to go through the same trial and error process I did. So, whether you're here to learn the basics, to pick up some shortcuts, or just to see what Spec can offer to your current CET workflow, I think you'll leave with some helpful tools you can put into practice right away. And with that being said, welcome to Spec Island. Relax, explore, and learn the lay of the land. Before you start exploring Spec Island, it's important to check your guidebook, Notify, and the Catalog Manager. Updating it regularly means you're working with the most current product information. Just like you wouldn't want an outdated map when exploring, you don't want outdated catalogs when importing CET, XML, or SIF files. This step ensures everything runs smoothly from the start. By keeping it updated, you avoid surprises down the road. When you first arrive at Spec Island, the home page acts as your visitor's map. It shows you the lay of the land, so you know exactly where to go and what's available. Think of the home page as your island map. It's the first thing you'll see when you step ashore. Just like a map points out harbor, trails, and landmarks, the home page highlights the key areas you'll use most often. From here, you can decide if you're heading to the import dock to bring in your SIF or XML, or if you want to set the vibe by choosing your color theme. Along the way, there are also shortcuts, just like secret trails on the island. Keyboard shortcuts might not be the first thing you notice, but once you learn them, they help you move quickly and save time on your journey. A few of my favorites are Control Shift P, that opens the project info. That's where I like to immediately go to title my project. F2 opens up the part specifier. F5 is another one I like to use. This is when I'm going to edit options, add some specials, or add in some upcharges. F7 if I want to price a line individually and not the entire PMX. Shift F11 when I want to add my general discounts to the entire PMX. Control F when I want to go in for a specific line using key words like pedestal or stool. These tabs and headers at the top of your screen are the tools that make your journey smoother and more efficient. like the map and compass you keep close by. The very first stop is the Home tab. This is where you'll find some of your most essential tools: the part specifier, catalog manager, and that trusty magnifying glass for searching. Think of it like your traveler's guide. Everything you need to get oriented is right here. For example, if you're only interested in a certain group of products, like pedestals, you can use the magnifying glass to filter down and focus on just those. It saves you from wandering aimlessly through every catalog and helps you zero in on exactly what you need on your PMX. So when you're starting your project, the Home tab is your launch point, a hub that helps you set the direction, stay organized, and move efficiently. We have the ability to adjust and move columns. Think of this as rearranging your campsite. Shift things around until you have the perfect setup and can see what you need clearly. Beyond that, you can create your own user templates. I use this feature all the time. For example, if I'm working on list pricing or GP, or if I want to focus on tagging each line, I'll set up a different template view for each. Click the green plus, give your template a name, select or deselect the columns you want, and hit save. Once you save, those templates are always ready to use. So instead of constantly resetting your screen, you just grab the view that fits the task. Next, we can move and lock rows. By right clicking and locking your rows, it's like dropping an anchor for your canoe. Exploring these features keep important rows steady while the rest of your data flows around them. Then there's sort. Sorting is a great tool that you'll find in both the Home and View tab. It helps organize your data quickly, whether you want to sort by manufacturer, catalog code, or even by the status indicator column. It's one of those simple but powerful features that keeps your project tidy and easy to navigate. When using these tools from the start, it helps you stay organized, avoid roadblocks, and keep your Spec Island adventure running smoothly. Now that our SIF file has arrived at the dock, the next step is to give our project a proper title. Think of it like tagging your cargo so it's easy to identify later. If you imagine a busy shipping yard, hundreds of containers come and go every day. Without a clear tag, you wouldn't know which belongs to you, where it's headed, or what's inside. The same is true for our projects. By titling the project correctly in Spec, we're not only labeling it for ourselves, we're ensuring that everyone in the process from design to account managers, customer service, and operations can reference the project without confusion. It becomes the common language that keeps the project moving smoothly throughout its life cycle. So think of the project title as the luggage tag for your cargo. Small detail, but without it, you risk things getting lost or misdirected. In Spec, we have a set of status icons, little symbols that act like signals on your island journey. At a glance, they tell you whether your project is on calm waters or if you're headed towards a storm. These icons live inside the status indicator column. I always recommend leaving this column visible when you're adjusting your views or creating templates. Think of it as your lighthouse on the horizon, always guiding you safely forward and helping you spot the hazards like missing options, pricing errors, or catalog conflicts before you run into them. By paying attention to these icons, you can correct issues early and keep your Spec Island adventure on course instead of getting stuck in rough waters later in the journey. When I spot those errors or question marks, that's when I go into my double check mode using the F2 key shortcut. This opens the part specifier. You can also find this under the View or Pricing tab. I like to refer to this as a quick check feature. Just like a dock inspector makes sure every shipment is correct, using the part specifier confirms nothing is missing. We all know sometimes some options may get missed or skipped, whether it's a caster style, a finish or laminate option. This step ensures everything is complete before moving forward. You can edit lines in two ways: by using the F5 key shortcut or by double-clicking in any of the option columns. With this function, I'm able to add prompts with upcharges. But there's an important detail to remember. We must always add a list price first. Spec does not require a list price on line items. However, when you're adding upcharges, the system needs that number as a foundation. Without it, the upcharge won't calculate properly because there's nothing for it to add on to. When you're making manual edits, it's also recommended to mark those lines as custom. Why? Marking them as custom tells the system to skip over them during global functions like optioning all or pricing from catalog. That way, Spec doesn't overwrite or alter the changes you've made manually. You can mark a line as custom in two ways. Right-click on the line and select Make Custom, or go to the Price tab and choose Mark as Custom. Using this method ensures that your manual changes stay intact, your upcharges calculate correctly, and the system doesn't undo your work later in the process. Before heading into our next excursion, pricing, remember notifying catalogs must be up to date for these to function correctly. From catalog pricing. This feature lets you bypass the detour of repricing, let's say through links, giving you a direct route to current pricing catalogs. Another verification method is Dynamic Pricing Tool, found under the Tools tab. Different manufacturers have their own pricing tools. Think of this as your anchor points. It keeps your pricing steady and secure. You know your pricing is complete when the status indicator shows a green check mark. If there's an X, you have an error and need to recheck. Remember those status indicators, they're very helpful. The treasure chest, general discounts. The general discounts button can be found under the price tab. This feature applies your discount to the PMX file. As briefly mentioned previously, in Spec, you're not required to have list pricing to apply your sale unless you're adding an upcharge or discounting based on your list price. You now can calculate your sale price using net pricing and margins in the customer discount box. We didn't have this feature in Project Spec 4, and it's helpful now for labor and one-off line items. You also have the option to filter by a specific area by using the Selection or Range button. The Field and Record That Have tabs are my go-to when discounting PMX files with manufacturers that have multiple catalog codes for their product lines. It's very helpful for manufacturers like AIS, Global, and Han who have many codes. Something important to keep in mind is that Spec retains the discount information that you previously entered. This can be helpful, but it can also cause an issue if you're not paying attention. For example, if I enter my dealer and customer discounts for AIS and then later switch over to price my global lines, Spec will still remember those AIS discounts. If I don't update them, I could end up applying the wrong discount to the wrong manufacturer, and that could throw off the entire quote. That's why it's really important to check your dealer and customer discount boxes each time. Select and deselect them as needed, depending on whether you want them applied. Think of it like packing for an island hop. If you carry everything from your last stop without repacking, you might end up hauling stuff you actually don't need. The same applies here. Always take a minute to review what's carried over so your numbers stay accurate and clean. With some manufacturers, we're able to import discount tables directly into Spec using an XML file. This is a huge time saver because it eliminates the need to manually enter the discount for each line or manufacturer. Once the table is imported, we can make changes right in this window, like renaming the table for each project, adding a start and end date for use, revising the description note field. We can also adjust the data like margin percentage to match the project requirements. After we make any updates, it's really important to export and save the table. That way, the most up-to-date version can be shared with account managers, design, and admin support, so everyone is working off the same information. We use this system for state and GSA projects because those require very specific contract pricing. Having the discount table already built ensures that we're compliant and accurate right from the start. At our dealership, we've gone a step further and compiled all of the state of Florida catalog codes for the manufacturers that we use most often. We keep that discount table current, so when it's time to work on one of those projects, all we have to do is open the PMX, import the table, click apply, and the project is priced instantly and accurately. Think of the discount tables as buried treasure. Once you dig them up and put them to use, they save you a ton of time, reducing quoting errors, and make sure every project is priced consistently. In a few minutes, we'll dig even deeper into the sand and look at exactly how this tool can transform the way you work in Spec. In addition to importing discount tables from manufacturers, we also have the option to create our own discount table from our imported CET file or from the lines we specify directly in Spec. This is really helpful when a manufacturer doesn't provide an XML table or when we want a table customized specifically for a client or the project we're pricing. You can build a discount table by manufacturer code, catalog code, or even a part number. When you click the Create From button, the system will populate those fields right on your screen. At that point, you have two choices. You can create a brand new discount table, or you can append new fields to add to an existing one. Appending is useful because it allows you to keep one master table and simply adding new lines or codes as they come up, instead of starting from scratch. If you're creating a new discount table, you'll click Create and then choose the fields you like to include. Personally, I like to use the catalog and generic codes. It keeps the table clean, easier to manage across different projects. Once you've selected your fields, click OK. Spec automatically builds a discount table directly from your imported PMX. This process ensures that even when we don't have a pre-made XML table, we can still standardize our discounting, and the big win here is consistency. Account managers and designers are all using the same discount structure, which makes the pricing more smoother and prevents errors when we're working on complex bids or contract projects. So whether you're importing from a manufacturer or creating your own discount table, this gives you the flexibility to manage pricing quickly and accurately. So when we step back and look at both options, importing manufacturer discount tables and creating our own, you can really see how much flexibility Spec gives us in managing pricing. Importing XML tables is like being handed a ready-made map. It's quick, it's accurate, and it keeps us compliant on projects. On the other hand, creating our own table is like charting our own course. It allows us to customize the structure, fill in gaps when a manufacturer doesn't provide a file, and keeps everything aligned. What both methods have in common is that they bring consistency and clarity. Whether we're working on a simple order or a large contract project, everyone on the team is referencing the same discount information. Account managers, designers, and admin support aren't guessing or duplicating work. They're aligned. That reduces errors, protect margins, and saves a lot of time when we're moving from the quote to order process. Discount tables can also act as our compass on this island journey. They help point us in the right direction, make sure we don't drift off course with pricing, and ultimately gives us confidence when presenting a quote to a client. Without them, it's easy to get lost in the details, but with them, the path is clear, consistent, and efficient. So as we close this section, just remember, discount tables aren't just a technical tool. They're a navigation system that keeps projects moving smoothly from start to finish. And now we're on to the gift shop to pick up some postcards and souvenirs. After we've double checked our pricing and features, the printing and report tab becomes our photo album, or it keeps our memories. There are several helpful templates available. And this is one area where Spec gives you a lot of flexibility as well. We use these templates in many different ways. For full project printing, when we need a complete package, as a quote tool, pulling just what the client needs to see, or even a bill of materials, which is useful when we're preparing bids. Each template is designed with a purpose, and they're all helpful in their own way. I recommend taking the time to review them because once you know what's available, you can quickly choose the one that fits your need instead of building something from scratch each and every time. I won't go into every single template today, that would be its own session, but I do want you to know how powerful they are. Think of them like different maps in your travel kit. You may not use all of them on every trip, but it's good to know they're there when the journey calls for it. The Reports tabs allows us to look at projects from different angles. What makes this tab so valuable is that it provides the right view for the right audience. Whether we're preparing an internal review or presenting details to a client, rather than being locked into one standard report, we can select the best that supports the task at hand. Let me walk you through a few key reports I rely on the most and how they help in projects. We can clearly review dealer and customer discounts along with margin with full financial reporting. Running a report by manufacturer list pricing gives me the insight I need to approach the manufacturer with confidence and request a deeper discount where it's justified. I'll also review by catalog code or generic code, which helps me quickly identify what product lines are on the order, especially useful when I'm discounting without a discount table. I also like to review by tagging. It gives me a clean overview of the project at a glance. And when I'm in a client meeting, we can generate 1 or 3 page cut sheets. These are perfect for keeping the conversation focused and easy for clients to follow without getting overwhelmed with too much detail. All of these different report views are essential when we're working on bids, margins, project overviews, or client conversations. Think of these like sending different kind of postcards to your family back home off your trip. One design may be perfect for a client, another is better for internal tracking. It's the same information, just framed in a way that best suits your audience. We've toured Spec Island together, from arriving at the dock with our quick note or imported file, and finally sending out postcards through printing and reporting. My hope is that you now feel comfortable exploring on your own and using these tools to make your projects smoother and more efficient. Thank you so much for your time.